President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi held a meeting with Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli, Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources Tariq Al-Mulla, Minister of Public Business Sector Mahmoud Asmat, Major General Walid Abu al-Magd, Director General of the National Service Projects Agency for the Armed Forces, and Major General Abdessalem Shafiq, CEO of the Egyptian Mining Authority, and the Quarries and Mines Management. Presidential spokesman Councillor Ahmed Fahmy said the meeting discussed ongoing efforts to develop and utilize Egypt's mineral resources, particularly tantalum ore, which has reserves in Egypt and is considered one of the rare and precious elements used in various advanced industries such as aircraft components, electronic circuits, microelectronics, mobile phones and laptops, as well as the production of some medical components such as prosthetic implants. He added that the President directed to continue working on optimally managing and utilizing Egypt's mineral wealth and raw materials, emphasizing the adoption of the best modern management and governance methods and advanced technological techniques that maximize the added value of Egypt's mineral resources and contribute to the state's industrial plan and national economy. In recent years, Egypt has increased its emphasis on the development of its mineral resources, especially tantalum. The country possesses considerable quantities of the rare metal, which is in high demand due to its unusual qualities in a variety of industries. In 2020, the Egyptian government announced the launch of a strategy to develop the country's mining sector with the aim of increasing its contribution to the national economy and creating job opportunities for Egyptians. The strategy includes the development of new mining projects and the modernization of existing ones, as well as the promotion of investment in the sector. This latest meeting between President el-Sisi and top government officials underscores the government's commitment to the development of the mining sector and the utilization of Egypt's mineral wealth to benefit its citizens and development progress.
Right, welcome back, and to highlight the issue, let me here welcome our guest, Engineer Hussein Ghazawy, a mining engineer. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, my pleasure. Let me here take you reading to this meeting and the keenness of the President to follow up with the management of Egypt's its mining resources wealth.
Mining sector is very important for Egypt. We know our area, we are 1 million square kilometer. It's a big country with a lot of mineral resources. Egypt also is part of the Arabian-Nubian Shield, which extends from Egypt, East Africa, all the way also to Saudi. We know that the ancient Egyptians, they've been mining for a long time, all the gold and other minerals. And actually, it is important because the mining still less than 1% when it comes to Egypt GDP. So there is definitely a lot of rooms to grow and to develop. And we also need these minerals and the natural resources to develop our industry. I mean, the basics of the industry in your report, the tantalum, basically it's used in the capacitors, in all the, we have it surrounding us where we stay here, in the mobile, so, and actually Egypt, if you look at the deposit of that rare minerals, we have it in Nuweiba, we have it in Abu Dhabi area near Marsa Alam, we have it also in Sinai. The estimation that Egypt have probably among the top 10 reserve there is of this metal and other metal. If we also look at what's happening in the world with the rare earth element, which is titanium, is one of them. They are key for reaching the zero carbon emission by 2050, because you will need all this rare earth element for the energy transition. If we talk about the lithium for the electrical vehicle, 2035 Europe will have only electrical vehicle. Lithium, cobalt, zinc, all these metals is key for the energy transition. Look at if I take a lithium as example, the investment in exploring more lithium increased year on year, 22 compared to pre-pandemic, almost 50%. US issued a law, they call it the infrastructure law, and big part of that infrastructure law focusing on all this rare earth metal. And we have to be happy because Egypt is gifted with a lot of these minerals, and we have the commitment from His Excellency President Sisi and the focus, determination with the Ministry of Petroleum and Mineral Resources to basically use all our natural resources. And basically with all the challenging facing that industry, it's not an easy industry, and as the report said, it creates a lot of jobs, but also you create a community, because most of the mines, it's in a remote area. So when you have a mine, you create a community, so it's very important. Egypt have a lot of projects. We know about that golden triangle with a lot of potential, not only when it comes to the mineral or the mining, when it comes to industry, when it comes to tourism, when it comes to transportation. Our existing infrastructures also helping us and allow us to take a serious step toward basically evolving and go with the government of Egypt plan to reach 5% of the GDP coming from the mining sector. It's challenging, but definitely we are on the right path to get it.
As we've seen here in the report, we've seen the President holding an important meeting with all involved parties, starting with the Prime Minister and all the ministers and institutions that are into the mining process. How do you view the ongoing efforts of Egypt in order to utilize the mineral resources?
I think it's effort. There is a lot of effort, and if you allow me, had the opportunity day before yesterday to meet with His Excellency Engineer Tarek El-Molla, the Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources, with my colleague from the American Chamber to talk about the mining and the potential attracting the foreign investor to this important sector. And we were all happy with it was very informative and productive actually discussion. The government of Egypt, the ministry is very open to basically cope with all with the mining industry challenging and the changes. And I think the government of Egypt has the agility, and we see that what happened with the new mineral law. We had the law in 2014, 198, which was adjusted, another law, 145 in 2019, and with the guidelines, it was published and announced early 20, and there has been a lot of changes. We had a law, mining law, 60 years old, which was not necessary, matching or suitable with the current and international mining sector criteria worldwide. So the new law meets all the basically the changes, and we see with what happened when Egypt had the concession for the gold mining in the last few years. We saw a lot of foreign investors and as well as local investors. So back to your question, I think definitely there is a lot of effort from the government of Egypt, the head of state, the minister, everybody, to make sure that they have this dialogue, listen to the investor challenges. We need the Arab investor, we need foreign investor in this important sector, because we, at the same time, the value-added project, we saw that Egypt have focused a lot about value-added project rather than exporting our natural resources as a raw material. We know about the soda ash project, silicon complex in New Alamein, all the phosphoric acid project, we use the phosphate from Abu Tartur and Sibaiya. So this is what will enhance, and we reach 5% of the GDP. Country like Morocco, the mining sector is almost 10% of their GDP. Egypt, we have the potential to reach that. And again, it's crucial for the local industry to build our industry to have all this material. We don't want to rely on importing raw material from outside while we have the natural resources at our doorstep, as they said.
Very much indeed. As you spoke here, you spoke about your meeting with the Minister of Oil and
Petroleum and Mineral Resources.
Exactly, Dr. Tarek Al-Mulanda. If I may ask you here, how do you view the participation of the private sector? I mean here, the President has been calling each time for more participation of the investors, local or even the foreign investors, into the priority files of Egypt: industry, agriculture, mining, as you said, respectively. We've heard the President calling on them when he opened the project of the black sand. How do you view the participation of businessmen and the private sector so far?
There is participation. In my opinion, there is more to do from the investor side, because I think the government makes a lot of facility. We see this golden license to allow people to invest with objectives to increase the private sector, to enhance the private sector contribution in the economy up to 65%. And I think what Egypt have done in the last 8 years is basically making mega investment in the infrastructure, which wouldn't have been possible. Now we can talk about mining sector and having the golden triangle, because we have a good roads, we have ports to basically equipped. So I think our local investor need to get more in this business. Let's invest in Egypt. There is a lot of potential in the mining sector in Egypt, and there is a government have the willingness and listen and having a various dialogue like what we had a couple of days ago, to listen, take notes, follow up on any challenges, because the challenges always will be there, and we can always see the president that the government is going to overcome and deal with the investors to overcome any challenges. So I think it's on the investor side now to come, local and foreign, to come and invest more in, because it's a profitable business. We see all the investors invest in Egypt. The Australian company in the gold mine of Sukari, they produced last year almost 450 ounces of gold, and they still have 12 million ounce reserve of gold. So it's among, actually Sukari is among top 10 gold mines in Egypt. So there is a potential. The black sand project, I think, was great from the government to look at this rich black sand and having this two complex in Rosetta, and use the know-how from other countries like Australia to make use of our black sand, rather than just sending the black sand as a raw material, which we basically is not good for us. Back again to when we talk about the energy transition. For example, renewable and winds, you need the silicon, you need the rare earth metals, you need the uranium for the nuclear, and again, once for the storage of this energy as part of the energy transition, we spoke about the lithium, the cobalt, the zinc, and the rare earth metal as well. We are rich with this stuff, and I think the government give all the facility to encourage investors to come and invest in the mining sector.
And that's another point. We've just seen the president holding, or rather presiding over the Supreme Council for Investment, in which, after, of course, it was reformed to include all the ministries and institutions. 22 decisions were taken in order to facilitate the all the economic obstacles and investors' burdens that were faced before, and give them a kind of comprehensive package of incentives. If I may speak here about a president, or let me here quote the president here, stressing on the adoption of best methods of modern management and governance.
We see alignment in regulations and policies. The government of Egypt is aligned when it comes to the changes in the mining industry. That's so, because there is a lot of changes. So the alignment is there, the agility is there. We reach the countries very advanced in the mining: Australia, Canada, United States. So His Excellency direction is basically to go, because when it comes to the know-how, yes, we have the data, but we need basically the experience from these countries. Also, it's very important that the ministry is going to launch a mining portal similar to what being launched 5 years ago in the oil and gas, which is Egypt Upstream Gateway. So all the information, all the data, all the map of all the mines and all the mineral resources in Egypt will be, that's part of the digital transformation of the ministry and the government of Egypt, which makes the basically more transparent and encourage the investor. And that's part of adapting the best method to promote the mining industry.
Here the president has very much stressed on methods of good governance and modern management. Why exactly those two issues?
When it comes to the mining sector, there will be a lot of issues when it comes to talented people, because it's expanding everywhere. So part of the capacity building, having our people qualified to meet basically the requirement of the sector and the requirement of the technology. Good governing is very important. In the old law, for example, it was a profit sharing, which doesn't basically match the international standard of mining sector. Now it's a loyalty, depend on the type of the ore. I'm talking about the new mining law. So it's a loyalty versus profit sharing. Loyalty varies between 5 and 20%, which is similar to other countries. Also, to get the license, expanding the license, it used to be a very lengthy process. Again, thanks to His Excellency and the government of having to facilitate that. So are we 100% there? Maybe not yet, but we don't need to be 100%. We will reach there, but what I said, what I want to stress, the willingness is there, the political will is there, the leadership is keen, follow up on that. So I think we have all the ingredients to have this industry going to basically to be significant contribution to Egypt GDP. And also we have an objectives of $1 billion export. Egypt has the capacity, 100 billion of export. Thank you very much. We have the capacity. It's not a dream. It's a dream, but I think we have We have everything to do that. And what you need for that, for our industry, if you need cement industry, if we need marble industry, black sand, if we need capacitors, electronics, you need minerals, you need raw material, which exists in Egypt.
And that's another issue, definitely the issue of experts and the exploitation, and how do we need such a file to be much more developed so we can really enhance the Egyptian economy and the foreign reserves. Here we're speaking about the mining sector. Using advanced techniques and technologies. I mean, here we're in the process of total transformation towards, we're in total digital transformation process. How would that maximize the added value of Egypt's ability to further mine the mineral resources and use its wealth?
So part of it, which I mentioned earlier, this new mining portal where all the data and everything will be digitalized and available for everybody. Basically, a foreign investor will have to pay a fees to get access to the data, and depend on the level of the access, the fees change. So that's one thing. Technology, when it comes to
technology, advanced technology, and how would what I mean here? I'm not an engineer, of course.
So, for example, now if we take the example of the gold mine of Sukkari, every year on year our reserve from that mine increase, and people think, what's that? What's that? Is basically there is new technology when it comes to the mining. They are applying a new ideas and new solutions. So that's why our reserve increase. Actually, maybe not necessarily it's a formal report, but Egypt have about 300 tons of gold reserve, which is a significant number. And this number is, I just took gold as an example, is subjected to increase because applying new technology. It's the same when it comes to the oil and gas industry. The reserve is increasing. What you extract from the land, whether it's mineral resources, whether it's oil and gas, have increased because you are applying now new technology. If you look at what happened in oil and gas in the United States with the fracking, US is #1 now in the world when it comes to produce oil and gas because of the fracking technique, which was not possible 15 or 20 years ago. So the industry is evolving. We are adopting, we are taking all the new techniques, and we see that as I said, in increasing our reserve from various minerals. Sometime before in the past, when you make an assessment of one mine, probably the technology at that time that it will not be economical to extract the resources or the minerals. Now with the new technology and new techniques, it became economical to extract, which what we are applying and using and seeking the help from other countries. Egypt had the first mining forum in July last year, and this year we'll have the second edition. We expect a lot of foreign companies and foreign investors exchange idea, talking about new techniques in the mining, and of course, great opportunity for investors to come and look for business opportunity.
Egypt's mineral resources, and how do you view its contribution to strengthening the state's industrial plan and national economy? Very
important. We saw with Ukraine-Russia conflict the impact on the raw material. How can you build a sustainable industry without having the raw material? And we are gifted having all these mineral resources here, We cannot have a successful glass industry without the soda ash. That's why we have the soda ash complex. We cannot rely on just importing the raw material, because the raw material in the overall cost of specific industry is very important, and we will be basically subjected to the volatility in the pricing change for the raw material. So it's very important for sustainable industry and advanced industry for Egypt.
Engineer Ghazawy, I only have 2 minutes. And in those 2 minutes, I need you to tell me what are the challenges that this sector is facing? What do we need in order to boost such a sector? What do investors need so they can invest in such a sector?
There is still some regulation in discussion is going on to facilitate for the investors to come and invest. We need to understand the mining sector. The investor has to spend a lot of money and has to basically explore and search. So it's a long-term investment. The return, it takes from 5 to 10 years. So there are some challenges. We need more exploration. We need more exploration.
Yes.
We have a lot of stuff.
Yes.
And our ancient Egyptian extract a lot of stuff, and there is a lot.
We need to go on.
We need to go. So more exploration, more exploration, more exploration, and basically facilitate and make it easier for the investors to come and invest.
And more investors to come.
Of course.
Definitely.
Local and foreign.
Definitely. Engineer Hussein Ghazawy, mining engineer, thank you so much for being with us tonight, and it was a real pleasure.
Thank you. We have a faith in Egypt, and for a faith in Egypt future in the mining sector.
Hopefully. And dear viewers, many thanks for watching. Next debate will be on Sunday. Many thanks for watching, and good night.